Did you actually think moving to Kuala Lumpur would be just sunshine, cheap food, and pretty skylines? Let me tell you something. I thought the same thing. I packed my bags, booked a one-way ticket, and landed in this wild, beautiful, chaotic city with a massive smile on my face and almost zero clue about what was really waiting for me. Kuala Lumpur grabbed me by the shoulders from day one and said, "Welcome, but you are not ready for this." And honestly, it was right. This city is layered. It is loud. It is generous and confusing and breathtaking all at the same time. I have laughed here. I have sweated through 3 shirts in a single afternoon. I have gotten lost in alleys that smelled like heaven. And I have sat in traffic so long, I genuinely questioned my life choices. But here is the truth. I would not trade a single day of it. If you are thinking about moving here, or you are already here and nodding along to everything I say, this one is for you. Here are 10 things nobody warned me about before I moved to Kuala Lumpur. Point 1. The heat is not just hot. It is personal. Okay, I knew Malaysia was going to be hot. I am not naive. I Googled it, I saw the numbers, but let me be very clear. Reading that Kuala Lumpur sits close to the equator and actually standing outside at 2 in the afternoon are 2 completely different experiences. The moment you step out, the air wraps around you like a warm, wet blanket that has no intention of letting go. Within minutes, you are sweating in places you did not know could sweat. Your glasses fog up the second you walk out of an air-conditioned building. Your hair does whatever it wants. And the humidity, it does not care about your plans. I remember walking to a nearby cafe thinking it was just a 5-minute stroll. I arrived looking like I had run a marathon in the rain. The locals? Cool, composed, absolutely unbothered. Meanwhile, I was standing there wondering if I had made a terrible mistake. But here is what nobody told me. You actually adjust. Slowly, stubbornly, your body starts to accept it. And then one day you realize you are sweating less, complaining less, and just living in the heat like it is the most normal thing in the world. Point 2. The food scene will ruin you for everywhere else. I want you to really hear me on this one. The food in Kuala Lumpur is not just good, it is life-changing. It will genuinely ruin your relationship with food in any other city you ever visit. You can eat a full, delicious, authentic meal for the price of what you would spend on a cup of coffee back home. Nasi lemak for breakfast, char kway teow for lunch, roti canai at midnight, and all of it is incredible. The hawker stalls and kopitiam coffee shops are where the real magic happens. You sit on a plastic chair under a buzzing fluorescent light, surrounded by strangers who are all having the exact same jaw-dropping experience as you, and you eat food that somehow manages to taste like it was made with years of love and total mastery. I became obsessed. I started planning my entire day around meals. I would wake up in the morning and immediately think about where I was going to eat. And the variety is unreal. Malay, Chinese, Indian, fusion, all of it coexisting in the same street, sometimes in the same building. Nobody warned me that food would become the center of my entire life here. Point 3. Getting around is a beautiful disaster. Kuala Lumpur has an impressive public transport system on paper. There are multiple train lines, buses, a monorail, and ride-hailing apps that work really well. But the city also has some of the most spectacular traffic jams you will ever witness in your life. During peak hours, which somehow seem to stretch from early morning to late at night, Certain roads become giant, motionless parking lots full of frustrated drivers and determined motorcyclists weaving through every gap imaginable. I once sat in a grab car for 45 minutes to travel what was essentially 2 kilometers. The driver and I had a full conversation about his family, his dreams, and his favorite football team by the time we arrived. The trick that nobody tells you up front is to learn the train system quickly and use it aggressively. The MRT and LRT lines will save your life on most days. But then there are those moments when the train station is a long walk from where you actually need to be, and the heat from point 1 kicks in, and suddenly you are negotiating with yourself about whether the destination is really worth it. It always is, but the journey will test you. Point 4. The cost of living will shock you in the best way. One of the biggest surprises for me, especially coming from a more expensive city, was just how far your money goes in Kuala Lumpur. Rent for a decent apartment in a central, well-connected neighborhood is dramatically lower than what you would pay in cities like Singapore, London, or Sydney. Groceries at the local wet market are affordable beyond belief. Eating out daily, which you absolutely will do because of point 2, is genuinely cheap. A filling meal at a hawker stall can cost the equivalent of less than $2. Even the slightly fancier sit-down restaurants are reasonably priced compared to what most Westerners are used to. This means that your quality of life can actually be higher here than back home, even if your income is modest. You find yourself doing things and visiting places you would have skipped in your home country purely because of cost. Weekend trips, spa days, trying new restaurants, they all become accessible in a way that feels almost surreal at first. Nobody warned me that I would feel financially free for the first time in years, and it changed how I thought about where I wanted to live long term. Point 5. Malaysians will make you feel at home immediately. This is the one that hits different. I had heard that Malaysians were friendly. People said it in a general, polite way, the way you say nice things about a place without really meaning anything specific. But the warmth here is real, and it is immediate, and it catches you off guard every single time. Strangers will help you figure out the train system without you even asking. Shopkeepers will remember your order after just 2 visits. Neighbors will knock on your door with food during festivals. People will strike up conversations with you in lifts, in queues, at food stalls, and they are genuinely curious about you, where you are from, what you think of Malaysia, whether you have tried the durian yet. There is a cultural openness here that made me feel less like a foreigner and more like someone who just moved into a big, chaotic, welcoming neighborhood. The mix of Malay, Chinese, Indian, and various other communities gives the city a texture and a generosity of spirit that I did not fully expect. I came as a stranger. Within a few months, I had friends, regulars at my favorite stalls, and a community I genuinely cared about. Point 6. Rain in KL is not rain. It is a full meteorological event. You think you have seen rain? You have not seen rain until you have experienced a Kuala Lumpur afternoon thunderstorm. These things arrive with almost no warning. One minute the sky is blue and blazing, the next minute the clouds are dark and angry. The wind is picking up, and then the heavens absolutely open up and pour down with a force that makes you question whether the city will still be standing when it stops. Streets flood, drains overflow. Umbrellas are basically decorative because the rain comes in sideways and from below. The thunder rattles your windows, and the lightning puts on a show that is honestly kind of spectacular if you are watching from inside. Locals are so accustomed to this that they'll barely flinch. They carry on eating their food at outdoor stalls, they duck briefly under a shelter, and then they move on like nothing happened. But for newcomers, it is genuinely startling the first few times. The key survival lesson I eventually learned is to never leave the house in the afternoon without checking the sky. Always have a backup indoor plan, and honestly, just embrace the drama. The storms pass fast, and the city always bounces back looking fresh and clean. Point 7. The language situation is surprisingly easy and wonderfully complex. Here is something that reassured me enormously when I first arrived. English is widely spoken in Kuala Lumpur. Signs, menus, official communications, customer service, English is everywhere, and most locals will speak it with you comfortably. So if you are nervous about the language barrier, you can breathe a little easier. But here is what I did not expect. The real linguistic joy of this city is discovering Manglish. This is the beautiful, creative, distinctly Malaysian form of English that mixes Malay, Chinese dialects, Tamil, and English into something wonderfully expressive. Words like la, lor, meh, and wah are not just filler. They carry real emotional weight and nuance. La softens a statement. Meh expresses mild doubt or resignation. Wah signals genuine admiration or surprise. When locals start talking to you in Manglish, it means they are comfortable with you. And honestly, it feels like an invitation into the culture. I started picking it up without trying. My friends would laugh every time I accidentally dropped a law at the end of a sentence. Nobody warned me that learning the unofficial language of daily life would be one of the most joyful parts of living here. Point 8. The malls are a whole lifestyle, not just a shopping trip. Back home, malls were where you went when you needed to buy something specific. You parked, you got the thing, you left. In Kuala Lumpur, the mall is a destination. It is where people eat, socialize, watch movies, exercise, attend events, escape the heat, and sometimes just exist for hours. And the malls here are enormous. Some of them are practically small cities. There are malls connected to other malls, connected to train stations, connected to hotels. You could theoretically spend an entire day inside one without running out of things to do or places to eat. At first, I found this a bit overwhelming. I am not a huge mall person by nature. But I quickly understood that in a city where the heat and the rain can make outdoor life difficult for parts of the day, the mall fills a genuine social function. Birthday celebrations happen in malls. Business meetings happen in malls. Date nights, family outings, solo afternoon escapes, all of it. I went from mild mall skeptic to someone who genuinely appreciated having a massive, air-conditioned, food-filled universe just minutes from my front door. Nobody warned me I would actually love this about the city. Point 9. The expat community is huge and very easy to find. One of the quieter anxieties about moving to a new country, especially alone, is the fear of isolation. Will I make friends? Will I find my people? Will I spend my weekends alone, eating great food, but missing human connection? Kuala Lumpur quietly dissolves that fear pretty quickly. The expat community here is large, well-established, and genuinely welcoming to newcomers. There are Facebook groups, meetups, language exchange events, hiking clubs, sports leagues, and community gatherings happening constantly. People from every corner of the world have made this city home, and many of them remember exactly how it felt to arrive not knowing anyone. That shared experience creates an immediate bond. Within my first couple of months, I had met people from more than 15 different countries, been invited to group dinners, rooftop events, and weekend trips to places like Penang and the Cameron Highlands. The city has this magnetic social energy that makes it easy to fill your life with people and experiences if you are even slightly open to it. I came here not knowing a single soul, and I left my first year feeling like I had a whole second family scattered across the city. Point 10. Kuala Lumpur will challenge your identity in the best way. This last one is the one I think about the most. Moving to Kuala Lumpur does not just change your address, it changes you. Living in a city that is so multicultural, so layered with history and religion and tradition and modernity all at once, puts your own assumptions and habits under a very honest light. You start questioning things you never questioned before. The way you think about community, about religion, about food, about time, about what makes a good life, all of it gets quietly rearranged. You witness 3 major religious celebrations in a single month, and you realize how beautifully different people can be while still sharing the same streets, the same food courts, the same everyday kindnesses. You learn patience in the traffic. You learn generosity from the people. You learn to slow down and eat properly and actually appreciate where you are. I came to Kuala Lumpur thinking I was moving cities. I stayed because I realized I was becoming a better, more open, more curious version of myself. Nobody warned me about that. Nobody told me this city would quietly, gently, and completely change the way I see the world. So, there you have it. 10 things nobody warned me about before I moved to Kuala Lumpur. And honestly, looking back, I am kind of glad nobody laid it all out for me in advance. Because discovering this city in real time, with all its heat and chaos and food and kindness and rain, that was the adventure. That was the whole point. Kuala Lumpur is not a perfect city. No city is. There will be days when the traffic makes you want to scream, when the humidity wins, when you feel far from home and a little lost. But there will also be days when you are sitting at a street-side stall at 10 at night, eating the best bowl of noodles of your life, surrounded by the sounds and smells of a city that is fully, unapologetically alive. And you will think, I am exactly where I am supposed to be. If you are thinking about moving here, do it. If you are already here, I hope this made you feel seen. And if you have your own Kuala Lumpur story, a moment, a surprise, a thing nobody warned you about either, drop it in the comments below. I would love to read every single one. If this video resonated with you, please give it a like. It genuinely helps more than you know. Subscribe if you want more honest, real stories about life abroad. And I will see you in the next one.